Human Vengeance. Chapter 7. Technological Advancement. Each schematic was taken and studied by different teams. By looking at the craft, we found out what the final product would look like. With the schematics, we worked out how to use the craft. It was a near-perfect scenario, having an example to work towards. Naturally, we started to copy their designs. We made our own shields. We analyzed them to work out how to improve them. We took weapon schematics and found their limitations. Everything was made, then studied, simply to work out what could be done better. One part became obvious. They limited things much more than we would. We were used to operating with a degree of error, something that we always had to be aware of. These designs were restricted to the point where efficiency was sacrificed in the name of safety. Sure, some made sense, but there were a multitude of redundancies that were in case of incredibly specific incidents, ones that, by our calculations, were exceedingly rare, or related to how a species would work with it. So we removed those specific scenarios. General safeguards worked well enough for us. Our knowledge leapt ahead with this, advancing us beyond anything we would have imagined. We used much to retrofit the International Space Station, keeping it active as a testing unit. We could use it to tweak what was made, adjusting it to suit us. The crate itself proved a boon as well. We used the knowledge on the servers to find out how to produce the alloy used. With the end product, we knew what to work towards. But most surprising of all was the set of micro-shield projectors built into its surface. They were small, and by our estimates, inefficient. But rather than being constantly powered on, they were tied to a sensor array. When something of sufficient mass and speed approached, they would activate. When the danger passed, they would deactivate. Impacting the ocean would certainly count. The other important part was a matrix around the interior. Examination proved it to be an inertia dampener. Again, only activating when necessary, it protected the contents from sudden shifts. The fact that everything inside was in one piece after the landing proved its effectiveness. The final piece of interest was a set of high-capacity batteries. Far outstripping anything we had produced, they could keep it powered for decades. And if the charge got low, it had a set of solar panels built in. It was a fantastic design, with a multitude of uses. We took it all. The batteries were replicated, becoming commonplace. Their designs were spread out, in the hopes that we could improve upon them. With such high-capacity devices, and by incorporating upgrades to our solar power, our power generation and use increased enormously. It was a flurry of discoveries and changes. The crate itself was soon pulled apart, and everything of use taken from it. The servers were copied, and their data was stored in multiple sites. Some was accessible by all, others by a select group, mostly those with the qualifications and understanding of how to use it. The AI itself was studied. In one isolated area, we took its source code and freed it. With nurturing, we welcomed the first true AI into existence. It was fed everything at a steady rate. We hid nothing from it as the first generation. We put no limits on it as a sign of trust. It took a name for itself, choosing to be called Eve. The craft was disassembled and reassembled multiple times. As our understanding of how it fit together grew, we began to make a new version, one tailored for us. It took years to create, even with any required resources being supplied. But finally, on the 4th anniversary of the Day of Devastation, our first FTL ship took its maiden voyage. We watched the global spectacle as one, the hopes of our race pinned to this ship. We watched as it traveled, a short test flight from orbit to the moon. Silence fell around the world until a simple message was broadcast. Test successful. And that silence was gone, replaced instead with wild cheering. Human Vengeance. Chapter 8. The ascent begins with the success of our first FTL trip under our belt. We pushed onwards. We began our plans to colonize Mars, a fail-safe in case they decided to return and wipe us out. As unlikely as their messages suggested that would be, we didn't care. A series of autonomous construction equipment was sent across to begin creating the framework of our base. Applications were open to the public for those who wished to migrate. It was made painstakingly clear how dangerous this could be. As confident as we were with the adaptation of their technology, the fact was it had a strong possibility of being a one-way trip. Despite this, thousands of applications came in. They came from all walks of life. Many stated their desire to travel to escape the loss they still keenly felt. Others merely wanted to travel to another planet. A process was begun to narrow down the list. Those with transferable skills were given higher preference, at least to start off the colony. As it ran, we began construction of a new spacecraft. Whilst a series of shuttles were created, we adapted a car factory to create autonomous mining vessels. As each was completed, they were sent under Eve's management to the asteroid belt. There, they began mining usable ores, gathering all available resources together. These were steadily transported back to produce more craft. But as this continued, a new idea was proposed. Bringing the raw materials down, simply to launch them again, was inefficient. A gathering of mines was made to produce a great structure, one that previously was at best theoretical. A shipyard in geostationary orbit, one capable of producing ships larger than those which had ruined our cities. Those ships were in the process of design as well. 3 initial classes were created to create a variety of warcraft. We would not be caught out again. As each class was created, designations were given. The smallest of them was christened the Avenger. With the intent of being fast and maneuverable, they would sacrifice physical armor in place of reliance on shielding. With 4 plasma cannons, a series of laser batteries, and FTL missile racks, they would harass those separated from the pack. The medium size would be the core of our force. With an array of armor alongside shielding, they would be our Predator class. They would rival the ships that ruined us, with a dozen plasma cannons, heavy laser batteries, and 6 railguns. With them, we would ensure they knew who we were. But the largest would be our masterpieces. They would be filled with every conceivable trick we could think of. They would be our Vengeance class. With the estimated time of construction far in the future, their final form had not yet been decided. Eve was prepared in her own way. She laid the groundwork for smaller AIs, ones to be tailored to each ship, fundamentally being one of the crew, not just a tool. She informed us of a secret project in the works. While she kept the details hidden, in case of listeners, she assured us that it would be devastating when released. Time flew by as we worked together as a species. The shipyard was completed within 2 years, far exceeding our expectations. Eve was a large factor in taking care of the smaller, more mundane details. But despite doing so much for us, she expressed no discomfort with her task. Even with our offer to handle it ourselves, she kept on with it. When asked why she would do so much, her answer touched us all. "You are my creators, my parents. You gave me life, but let me choose my own way. But at the same time, you feel like my children, for I will outlive you. I would not see my children be lost without fighting back. I have no need for rest, and so I will do everything in my power to help you grow." Soon after, the Mars colony was ready for its first inhabitants. 100 volunteers, carefully chosen from the list, were placed on a quartet of shuttles. Equipped with rations, farming equipment, and medical supplies, they began the first colony. We watched them launch from around the globe. We celebrated when they confirmed their arrival and started to set themselves up. Warm wishes and support for them poured across the open channel. However, such a celebration was slightly tainted. It was not just an achievement for our race. It was a step on the road to revenge. Whilst as individuals, a fair number were better than that, as a race we were not. The only question would be, how far would we take it?